Hello, and welcome to an intro to Anthro with two humans. I'm human number one, John McCray.
And I'm human number two, John Lehr.
And this is the podcast where we reassess what it means to be human. And the title of today's episode is, Will You Still Love Me When I'm 164? Or is longer necessarily better?
I've been waiting for this one to come down the pike.
Really?
Yeah. Because it's very interesting what's happening with aging.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at. I also want to apologize to our audience. I noticed on the last two podcasts I wore the exact same shirt, and I'm really sorry about that.
People think we're doing it like a game show, like we just knock these out.
No, it's even sadder than that. I just haven't changed.
You haven't done laundry or change in 2 weeks.
Anyway, good to see you. I'm feeling better. I've gotten past this summer cold. It's still in my throat, but
yeah, you sound a lot better.
Oh, I feel better.
You still tooting up with the nose spray, or is that?
No, I'm trying to wean myself off it because I've gotten addicted. But so far, so good.
Yeah, both nostrils. You use it in both nostrils.
Oh
or just
God,
one
yeah.
nostril?
What's the point?
Yeah, they should make one that has tape them together. Yeah.
Well, they do that with the Narcan, the stuff that you give people when they OD on opiates.
Oh, really?
It's a 2-nostril spray. And I agree. I think for congestion, they should have that as well.
Yeah. What an amazing species we are.
I know. A lot of people get upset when you hit them with the Narcan.
Really?
Because it blows the high immediately. Apparently, wow. you do the Narcan and it erases the high. So a lot of people come out of it going, what the fuck?
Yeah, why'd you save me? Why'd you save me?
Yeah. I was fine. I don't know. You were having a seizure. Just let me handle this.
Yeah, I know what I'm doing. So, John, just to give you a little background, like we always do on our topics.
Yes.
A few weeks ago, my wife, Mary, gave me an article from The New Yorker from May 2021. And the article was a review of the book Extra Life, A Short History of Living Longer by Stephen Johnson. And in the review, Brooke Jarvis, who's the reviewer for, I guess she reviews books for The New Yorker. She talked not only about Johnson's book, which outlines the major advances in medicine and public services that have led to humans living longer, but she also then gets into euthanasia and the right to die movement.
Yes. Yes, you can't talk with one. You got to talk the yin. You got to have the yang, the yin and the yang.
But I'll tell you, I mean, I'm a little bit older than Mary, not a lot older than Mary.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
you're older than Mary.
Like 3 years.
I always think of you as the same person. So
Yeah. I'm a little bit older.
Oh,
3 years. 3 years older.
3. Wow, look at you, robbing the cradle.
But I'm telling you, there's nothing like having your wife give you an article about getting older and being put to sleep.
Yes.
Then you're right back on the treadmill. Like I'm immediately like working out and everything.
Well, I don't know if I'm in your living will, but I highly recommend you put me in there.
Oh, really?
Because I'll pull the plug. I won't even first sign. I'll be like, do it. Like, well, give him no, do it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let you, have any chance of you like having to deal with any of that. I'll pull the plug right away. I'll pull the plug before they ask me.
I'm just in here for a sunburn. What are you doing?
Pull it.
And then shortly after that, I saw an article in BBC News and NBC News. And this story was pretty big back in May of 2023. And it's about a guy in California, in Los Angeles.
Of course.
Who is spending $2 million a year to try to reverse his biological aging.
Yes, I've caught wind of this gentleman.
Have you?
Yeah. Yes, I have. Why keep an entire village alive for a year when you can spend that money on giving yourself an extra 2 weeks of life?
Yeah.
It makes total sense to me.
Yeah. Fascinating story. His name's Brian Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Which actually another John. We got a lot of Johnsons in this.
Yes, we do.
This episode. It's like what was it? Blazing Saddles. Didn't they have all the Johnsons? Like
Johnson,
Howard Johnson, Van Johnson. I agree with Van Johnson.
Not a show that not a movie that ages well.
No,
Blazing Saddles.
No. But at the time,
it was the thing. Yeah. Weird about history, isn't it?
Yeah, I like how you brought it in. Aging, like the film didn't age well.
Doesn't age. Thank you. That was intentional, of course.
Yeah, I thought you did. I mean, so sly. But Brian Johnson, he's 45 years old.
Okay.
He's a tech guy, and a couple years ago, he sold his company to Venmo for $800 million.
Who hasn't done that? 800 million.
Yeah.
What is wrong with everybody?
I don't, Venmo's in the market when this podcast.
Yep, that's right. Hey, if they advertise and we love them.
Yeah. But anyway, he has the money. You know what I mean? It's not like he's taking out loans or maxing out his credit cards to get the $2 million to. But
like I said, there's better ways to spend your money than on giving yourself an extra fortnight of living. Yeah. I'm just going to say that. And also at 45, he's worried about living longer. At 45, he should be living, not worried about living longer. Get out there and this guy is not living. I run into this a lot. And men our age, we're in our 50s, our mid 50s.
Yeah.
I have men our age come up to me. We'll be having a drink or something. And they'll say, I wish I had, lived, sowed my oats a little more when I was younger, done this or that when I was younger. And I was like, what the hell were you doing? I did.
Yeah.
I had sex with everything. I tried everything.
Yeah.
I did that. That's when you do it. Not now. Right. You can't wear a chain strapped to your wallet and get tattoos at 55. It's too late, buddy. What were you doing back when you were supposed to be doing? So my advice to Mr. Johnson is stop spending money on living longer and just live right now.
Think of that. How much fun you could have with $2 million a year just in your fun kitty. You know what I mean?
Give it to us. We'll shoot a film or something.
But anyway, in order to what he's doing, in order to reverse aging, he employs a team of 30 doctors and scientists to monitor him.
Yeah, because they by no means should they be helping other people stay alive. Right. He should. Yeah.
Well, he's creating
jobs. He sold
jobs.
the company to Venmo. Well,
and they prescribe certain treatments and diets to help him slow down aging. And then every day he calls himself the world's most measured man, meaning that every day the doctors will give him something and then they'll check to see how he's responding to it, how his biological aging is responding.
So he's spending his whole life. It's like a full-time job.
Right.
He's wasting his life, elongating his life.
Yeah.
It's such a trip.
That's the trade-off, I guess.
Everything, everything has you pay the piper in some way.
Yeah, you'll live forever, but it's not going to be enjoyable.
Yeah.
He's on a strict vegan diet.
Okay, I don't mind that.
And every day he must take 52 pills in the morning.
Oh, in the morning.
In the morning, yeah.
God, how many pills can you take at once?
At once?
I used to abuse pharmaceuticals, so I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm going to say I could do 15 pills.
Really?
In one, I bet I could.
What kind of pills? Like a gel tab or baby aspirin? Come on, baby aspirin.
No, you give me the real stuff. I mean, I'd prefer gel caps, but whatever, you give them to me.
You ever crush them up, or is that what you're talking about? Just take a handful and shove it in your mouth
we used to do that too. Jesus, crush them up and snort them.
What's the most pills you've ever taken in one go round?
I don't know. I don't know. I've done a lot.
Yeah.
I've done. I bet I 6 maybe. I'm going to say 6 at once.
6 pills. Ooh.
I could go down and get some vitamins and see how many I can do.
Yeah, maybe
you want.
We'll do that. We'll put that on the YouTube.
Okay.
We'll challenge each other. I
Maybe
don't know.
that'll
I'll go
be
in
for
there.
like when we, yeah, we'll do that when we get like our Patreon page.
Yeah.
You become a member and you can see how many vitamins I can take.
It'll be like a Nathan's hot dog eating contest. We'll just see. We'll have a bunch of people competing to see how many pills we can swallow at once.
That's fantastic.
Ooh,
that's a great idea.
Yeah, that'll end well. That will end well.
Yeah.
Brian Johnson, he has a really intense workout, and all of these articles and all of the stories on him back in May, they always had video to show him working out, and he's really, really working out hard, like all day long. And
does it dawn on him that he's working? He's wasting his life trying to gain life. Like, I wonder if that ever occurs to him, or is this an experiment? Does he think this is for the greater good, to help mankind, kind of like it's a hobby?
That's what he says. He's saying he's trying to push himself for people, for humanity. But it's
he's doing it for us. He's doing it for us. Thanks, Brian.
The other thing, just to show you to what extremes he goes to, he also uses a machine to strengthen his pelvic floor so that he doesn't have to get up in the middle of the night and go to the bathroom so much.
What?
Because
so he can get more sleep?
Right, because a better sleep. He wants a better sleep because better sleep is supposed to protect your brain from like Alzheimer's and stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm definitely getting Alzheimer's because I eat all the time. But what is a pelvic floor? I'm not even sure what that is. Is that like a muscle?
Yeah, it looks like it's down around the taint. I think it's next door to the taint.
I'm making it do something right now. Hey, Brian, I'm working on my pelvic floor too.
Are your Kegels? Are you doing your Kegels?
I'm doing them every podcast. Every podcast. It's for everybody else too. I'm like Brian. I'm trying to help humanity. By tightening my taint.
Right. You're going to be like just ripped. A six-pack down there.
Tighten your taint for humankind.
And he says he gets a lot of hate mail.
Look at me. I've turned on him. Yeah. I don't even know him. And
I know.
It's easy to hate.
Right. And he says that he loves getting hate mail because it motivates him, I guess. He just says he loves getting hate mail. And I don't know if it's because he's a guy trying to live longer or he's a rich guy spending $2 million a year trying to
That's the thing for me is like just the waste, the money. It's like it's just I'd rather see that money, but whatever. Yeah,
it's his money.
To each his own. He can do whatever he wants, and like you said, it does end up back in the economy somehow.
Right.
All those doctors are buying In-N-Out burgers on their way home. It all trickles down.
Paying for parking in Venice. That's probably. He lives in Venice, by the way. I forgot.
Well, he's dying quick then.
Yeah.
Because everybody in Venice is stoned. Everybody. Yeah. Every single person in Venice. You wouldn't recognize. You used to live in Venice.
You and I both lived in Venice.
Yeah, we were roomies, and then you lived by yourself. You lived a long time in Venice.
I love Venice.
When was the last time you were there? Because it's changed. Boy, is it changed.
15 years ago, probably.
Everybody is stoned. Everybody.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, it's unreal. It's incredible. And so he's probably, it's so funny. This is like people who are really health conscious, like, eat right and everything. But they're living in LA where there's the particle. I read an article about just the particles from rubber tires that we're all inhaling is giving us all cancer.
Really?
So here he is tightening his taint in order to live longer while he's inhaling pieces of rubber.
When you and I lived in Venice, there's no way I would have spent $2 million a year because you get younger and then you'd like get mugged and shot on your way down to the liquor store on Abbot Kinney. I just remember like you would have to get ready. Like I'm going to the liquor store 5 minutes away. I'm going to start running now before I even get out of my yard, my courtyard.
Excuse me.
But in one of the interviews, Brian Johnson says something that was interesting to me. And that was, he says, quote, "If we slowed the speed of aging and even reversed it, it would change everything about being human." unquote.
Hmm.
And what's interesting to me is like when we started this podcast, 30 years ago.
I was about to say the exact same thing.
Really?
I was about to say 30 years ago. Yeah.
We're in there, baby. We're in sync. But when we started it, remember we started with kind of asking each other what we thought it meant to be a human.
Yeah.
And when we did that, decay, aging, death, none of that came up when we were describing what it meant to be human for us.
True.
I guess is what.
Yeah.
So today I thought maybe we could just talk about aging in general, and also for a couple different reasons. First of all, McCray men don't live that long.
Neither do Lehrs.
Yeah.
We go down early.
Yeah. And how old was your dad when he passed away?
74? Is that right?
Oh, that was
5? Yeah, I think so.
He seemed a lot younger. Younger at them.
74, 73, 70s. Jesus.
Yeah.
It's crazy that I don't know that. I also don't know the day he died. I know his birthday, but I've never. Do you know the day your dad died?
No, because they didn't know when he died. I just remember it was late July.
Yeah.
But when my dad died, I was 21, and my dad, he was 58. And I remember thinking like, oh, it's sad dad died. But he's lived a nice, long life. now I'm 57. I'm like, holy crap. I feel like I haven't even started yet.
Yeah. And we've got a lot of podcasts to record. Don't you go down on me now.
I know.
Maybe you get up there with Brian and get to work in your, we got to put you in an iron lung or, and start getting you.
I don't know.
Whenever you're not recording the podcast, you should be in an iron lung.
Just an iron lung from the waist down. Just something working on my pelvic. I conceptualize like strengthen the pelvic floor.
I'm going to call you up in the middle of the night and be like, "Are you doing your Kegels?"
But needless to say, John, I'm not aging well emotionally. I don't think I'm
really?
taking it very hard. I'm taking it very hard.
I think you're doing well. What do you mean?
I feel like I did everything when I was younger. Like there's nothing I regret I didn't do.
I was there. I saw you do a lot of it.
Unfortunately. I wish you hadn't. The other thing in Stephen Johnson's book on living longer, he discusses how the average life expectancy at birth in Western Europe and the United States has more than doubled since 1900.
Wow.
Yeah. And and while certainly, people have had more time to experience being human, I myself wonder if having all of that extra time, like say, for example, if we were to live to 160, would that really change what it means to be a human?
Yeah. Or maybe it lessens what it means to be a human.
Right. We have so much time to sit around.
Burning fast, burning bright versus stretching that baby out.
Just kind of lingering there.
I mean, it's easy for me to say, God, I don't want to live forever. And that's where we're headed. They're going to put chips in our head and then ultimately figure out a way to digitize us, and then we live forever.
Yeah.
And then they just cut our heads off and put us on robots.
Will that be you, though? I mean, it's like, we're a hologram. No. You could put...
Yeah.
ChatGPT could keep you going for millennia, John.
And maybe it already is, and we just don't know it, and we're in it right now.
Yeah.
Maybe we're in your head right now. Maybe I'm not even... Maybe I died. Maybe they didn't digitize me.
Oh, my God.
And you're hanging by strings in some coma place somewhere.
What was that movie with John Cusack where it's a horror film and he's in it's a room number and he's in there and he's trying to write and then he thinks he gets out. Well, I don't want to ruin it, but
yes.
That's like that. I get up and after we finish this, I get up and there's a glitch and I open the door and suddenly I just see it's like Tron or something out in there. So we're going to give you an open mic sometime. I'm just going to let you go and talk about all your thoughts and conspiracies, and I'll just jump in every once in a while. And oh yeah, all right.
But I do agree with you. I think living longer is not living better.
Right. And I think it would definitely have consequences if you had everybody living to 160. That would be like so many more people. You know what I mean?
My God.
Like pre-boarding planes, for example. Like everybody who needs assistance.
Just like half the plane.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it's becoming with the baby boomers getting old now.
Oh, yeah. Everybody, and they all milk it to try to get on early. I can't wait till I get old.
Oh, God, I hate that. Where everybody crowds the gate and they don't even, and their ticket hasn't even been called. It said Group 4. Are you Group 4? No, I'm not. Then why are you here?
Yeah. Like, look, it's not going anywhere.
We're not going to leave till we're all on. They figured this shit out. Just let us all get on.
I'd love to see it like somebody's so worried about it. And that's once they do, everybody does get on before the plane just backs out really quickly and takes off. Well, you got to wait till the next one. It's like a bus. And then I was also thinking, like, just think about like casinos and buffets. You have an extra 8 billion, like 100-year-olds going to the casino. Nobody's going to enjoy the casinos anymore.
Oh, yeah. We'd have to start killing people. We'd have to go Soylent Green and start. Here come the scoops.
Oh no!
Here come the scoops.
Oh, it's people. It's people. And then also, I don't really know who would support this aging technology to make people stay around longer, except maybe credit card companies and student loan people.
Yes, which are the biggies.
Right. I'm like, okay, you can't pay it. Where most of us are paying on our student loans our entire lives anyway. Right. It's like, well, we're going to give you an extra 50 years to pay that off.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah. So anyway, just to get started talking about aging in general for humans, the history of aging is throughout most of our history, being alive has been a dangerous game. And we had diseases, infections. Apparently, a lot of people died from dental infections, like you bad teeth, and then you would swallow that. And then, yeah.
Oh, really? You'd swallow it, the infection, and then it would kill you?
Yeah. Well, it would get into your system, into your blood, and then you'd have sepsis a lot of accidents. Like hunting accidents, broken bones.
And little accidents that could lead to major infections. Like George Donner, who we talked about, the Donner Party, he cut his finger on an axle, fixing an axle, and died of it. He died of a cut finger.
Yeah. It was so dirty then. So dirty.
It was so dirty, and and if you didn't keep it clean, and Yeah.
Jesus. And we also had starvation, drought, warfare, and diarrhea. A lot of people died of just chronic diarrhea.
Yeah, dysentery. Well, if you've ever had, that's just horrible. And still.
Yeah. So anyway, we didn't live that long historically. Mm-hmm. And in the book by The Biology of Aging, Ronald McDonald, Robert McDonald, not Ronald, Robert McDonald.
Roger.
Said,
okay.
He's a clown on this part-time. He's really a very...
This podcast is about to get a lot longer.
Professor McDonald. At least he brings food to all of his classes. But in The Biology of Aging, Robert McDonald says that between 1500 and 1900 AD or CE, the average lifespan at birth for people in Western Europe and the United States was between 35 and 45 years.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. 35 and 45. That was at birth.
I didn't do anything until after I was 35. I basically learned how to wipe my butt, and that was it.
Yeah. And when you talk about average life expectancy at birth, you also it's averages. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you have
So a
some
lot
people who had
younger.
lived longer, and then, but really, what was bringing it down was all the kids that were dying, all the children that were dying.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Right.
and basically, with the kids were that was where most kids didn't make it beyond age of 10. You know
Wow.
what I mean? They were like,
Wow.
yeah. And in his book Extra Life, Stephen Johnson discusses how in the 1660s in London, there were so many people dying that they used to publish a weekly report called the Bills of Mortality. And you could just go in there and read them to see like who died, where they died, what they died of.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just why? Just to keep track of your friends and stuff?
Yeah, just to see. I mean, they would put it out there just, yeah, if you knew them or what was going on. And there was a guy, a merchant actually, named John Grant, who was really he started reading the bills of mortality, and then he started calculating or keeping track, making tables of where in London people died, how old they were, what they died of. And he did it just out of curiosity, but now he's considered one of the fathers of the the actuarial sciences.
Wow. He
Yeah.
led to so he's the reason I'm paying what I am for health insurance, life insurance.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
son of a
because he
bitch,
did it
Grant.
he was just trying to track up like where are people in London dying right now.
Uh-huh.
And then there was another guy named Lodewijk Huygens, who was a Dutchman, who took Grant's tables and then used mathematics on them and came up with statistics. And he was actually the guy once in the Netherlands. They started taking all that information and applying it to like life insurance. The
Wow.
life insurance, yeah.
Wow.
But to
So
give
we
you an
have the
idea,
Dutch to blame for that, for life insurance.
Yeah.
Okay.
But one thing Grant noticed was that for every 100 births in London at that time, 1660, about 36 of the people died before they were 6 years old.
Wow.
36 out of
Wow.
100. Yeah.
What a Jesus.
24 died before reaching the age of 16.
Jesus.
And then 15 more before turning the age of 26.
Damn. So if you made it to 26, you were sitting pretty.
Right.
But getting to 26,
yeah.
man.
And that's the thing with life expectancy on average. Once you get older, or once people did in the past even, your life expectancy grew larger, like longer, like you were,
Interesting.
but you had to get out of childhood because childhood was so dangerous.
Wow. Well, that makes sense. You're vulnerable. You're stupid.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. I mean, I can't believe I made it to 26 thinking back on the stupid stuff I did. Most of it with you.
I know.
Yeah.
It's frightening. It's
frightening.
Yeah.
Yeah. You think you're immortal. You're going to try stuff. You know, it's not going to happen to you.
Alcohol's involved usually. Something happens.
Alcohol and stupidity and yeah.
Stephen Johnson in his book also says that he makes the observation that being a child in the past was to be on the brink of death.
God,
that's how bad it was.
Jesus, my
that's
God,
how bad it was.
Yeah.
And in the mid 19th century in New York, childhood mortality was almost 50%.
My God.
Yeah.
In New York City. Well, did you see that movie? What's the one of 5 Points?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, I don't know how accurate that is, but it just looks horrid.
Yeah. Gangs of New York.
Gangs of New York. That's it. Yeah. Oh.
And also for a long time, people just treated kids as like little adults. Right. There was no like trying to keep them cleaner. It's like, okay,
good
you're
luck.
out of the womb. Time to get going.
See ya. Time to make me some money. Yeah. You're my retirement, buddy. Until you make some for you.
And in the 1840s, they say that half of all the deaths in New York were children.
Wow.
So,
that's insane.
Yeah. And it didn't matter if you were rich or if you were poor. It was up until about 1800. Those mortality rates were the same for everybody.
Really? That's interesting. So so much of it must have been infections and disease.
Yeah. Like smallpox and yellow fever, all the typhoid, like you mentioned.
Right.
And one person I read actually said that in a sense, rich people were worse off back then because it was the age of heroic medicine. And that was the medicine where they would like bleed you or put leeches on you, you know.
So that caused more damage than other stuff.
Right.
Wow. And then they were giving kids like those, they were giving them like opiates and stuff to calm them down, to sleep.
Yeah.
Like they had
instead
all
of a
that
babysitter,
kind of...
you give your kid like opiate, like a laudanum or something, you know.
Yeah. Oh, laudanum. And I would have liked to try some laudanum back in my day when I was. I wonder what that's like.
Like a baby. Just take a little nappy.
Night.
That'd give you more than like strengthening your pelvic floor. That's the way to get a good night's rest, I think.
That's right. He should. What's his face should be just taking laudanum.
I'm not sure, but Johnson in his book talks about George Washington, the father of our country, or one of the founders of our country. His last days when he was sick and he had doctors come in to see him, and they bled him of almost 60% of his blood.
Jesus, they just had leeches everywhere.
Yeah.
God.
And then after that, they then put a paste of beef fat and wax with some dried beetles in it to kind of like create some blisters on his neck.
Oh.
Yeah. And then they pop those blisters to also try to get the infection out.
Oh my God.
And then
the dried beetles creates a blister?
Yeah, it was a type of dried beetle that would cause irritation and causes the skin to blister up.
Oh,
and then they pop those blisters.
Jesus.
They also gave him an enema. I'm just imagine like General Washington.
Yeah, he's just like father of the country. Roll him over.
Yeah, everything.
Pop that blister and roll him over.
It's just so the indignity horrible. At the end. You know what I mean? But this is like high-tech medicine at the time,
right?
Heroic medicine. They also made him drink molasses and vinegar, like get that funnel in there.
Like together?
Or no, I guess they made him gargle with molasses and vinegar. I guess. Yeah.
So they'd have to take his wooden teeth out first. They made him.
And then they also made him. They gave him calomel, which is mercurous chloride, to make him throw up. So after all of that,
did that kill him? That must have been what killed him.
Mercury. I don't know. It's like he must have been like, just let me go. Don't worry about it.
With the blisters and the butt stuff and the throwing up. My God, I helped get this. I kickstart this democracy. Let me rest.
Yeah, like let me go back to. I'm gonna surrender again to the British. Just let me out of here.
God, I never thought I'd want to be back at Valley Forge, but. At least people left me alone.
Yeah. No enemas back then.
I had no food, most of my blood. But also no enemas.
Yeah. So then beginning around the 1800s, life expectancy started to go up. And one of the reasons, 1800s, one of the reasons was people started to vaccinate for smallpox.
That was it.
Yeah. And people
now here we are a century later, and we're not vaccinating for smallpox.
Right. Well, what was interesting in 1813, the Congress actually passed the Vaccine Act that encouraged vaccination against smallpox.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, in the 1820s, you had anti-vaxxers.
Yeah, I bet. I bet.
Yeah.
People are like, wait a minute.
Yeah. And they were saying exactly the same thing anti-vaxxers say now. It's like, it's against my personal liberty. And why would I take it if I'm not sick? It's all exactly the same thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
We just deserve to die, all of us.
Yeah.
We're just a terrible, terrible organism.
What's also interesting, though, is that they say one of the reasons... George Washington had smallpox when he was younger, and he was very pockmarked, but he had survived it. And he insisted that all of the members of the Continental Army get vaccinated for smallpox.
Hmm.
And they think that that's one of the reasons that kind of kept the army together.
Wow. Another thing he did.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. I didn't know he was pockmarked.
Yeah, they
Really?
say he had it when he was, he and his brother, he had an older, I think, half-brother, who had also had smallpox. But they said almost everybody had smallpox then.
Right. You either you survived it or you didn't.
Right. And they always talk about pockmarked, the skin of people pockmarked or something. So I guess when you had your painting done, you'd be like, hey, by the way.
Yeah. Airbrush out a little of the ixnay on the pockmark A.
Yeah. Just kind of smooth it out a little bit.
Smooth that out a little bit, would you?
The other thing that Johnson says helped our life expectancy go up was the chlorination of water, for example.
The what? What's that? What do you mean, chlorination?
Where you put chlorine.
Sorry,
yeah,
chlorination. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, people are still upset about that too.
I know. And also better plumbing and toilets reduce the risk of waterborne diseases. I mean,
don't you think our life expectancy would go up if we all used bidets? I feel like that's the next step we all have to take.
Really?
Yeah. Let's tell that guy in Venice. I wonder if he's using a bidet.
I'm sure if there's one.
He's not using the bathroom. He's figuring out a way to stop going to the bathroom.
I'm sure if there's some way, I don't know if it would increase our life expectancy, but it'd certainly make it nicer. I would say.
Yes. And a happy guy, happy life.
Yeah.
Wait. You know what I'm saying.
I know where you're going. The other thing, pasteurization of milk, which people don't realize how dangerous it used to be to drink milk. There was a lot of bacteria in milk. Yeah. And it would take forever to get milk to the cities, for example, or, transport it. And there was no refrigeration.
Thank God for Louis. He figured that out.
And, they say Zachary Taylor, who was president at the time, died in 1850. They think from drinking a bad glass of milk.
Oh, my God. Oh. Ugh. So it was kind of chunky? Didn't even know? He probably scooped out the... oh, God.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like curdy or... they always talk about how people would also, like merchants, to kind of make the milk go longer, they would like water it down and then put chalk in it to make it look like fresh milk, even though it was all like spoiled old milk.
God. Those...
The other thing that helped lead to higher life expectancy at birth was artificial fertilizers, and it would create more food. So a lot of people are, fewer people are dying of starvation. Penicillin, obviously, for infections.
Biggie. Yeah.
And then even things like seatbelt laws.
Yes.
By saving lives with seatbelt laws. Yeah.
Nobody wore seatbelts when I was little.
No.
People were flying through windshields all over the place.
I remember one time I was driving with my mom in our Rambler at the time, and my mom turned, and I still have a distinct memory of me just sliding across the front bench seat, the door flying open because we had a bum door on it. And my mom just reaching over and grabbing my arm.
That's amazing.
And she just kept driving. Just pull me right back in, not seatbelted in or anything.
My mom used to put her arm out when she'd come to a stop sign to keep me from hitting the dashboard.
Remember
and we never had child seats. I don't remember any child seats.
No. In my Ford Falcon, remember I had just lap belts, and there were times because that was the age where people were already wearing the shoulder belts, and I remember just thinking like, this thing's not going to.
No,
it's not
going to cut you right in half. I chipped my tooth in that car because of the chrome around the seats.
Yeah,
remember that?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
God, that thing was a weapon. That car.
Yeah.
That wasn't.
I just heard that. I remember from the back seat hearing like a chunk and then you being like spitting something out.
The crazy thing is that I didn't go to the dentist. We went on and camped out for a couple of nights. Remember?
Yeah.
That's the crazy part.
Come on, you got 32 teeth or whatever.
It was my entire front tooth, and we just kept going.
Let me see it now. Is it fake? Is that a fake one?
That's fake. There's like a little fang it's glued to, and it looks hideous. It just looks hideous. I've seen it a couple of times, and it's just like the worst thing you've ever seen. It's like brown, and it's like a little fang. Like, looks like a toothpick. And they put glue all over it and then glue the fake tooth to that.
God.
Isn't that crazy?
My God.
Yeah.
How often do you have to have that thing replaced?
Very rarely. And in fact, it's hung on a long time, but I did have to get it replaced right when I got my first big job on Jesse on NBC.
Yeah.
And I was going to one of the first table reads, and they had a temp in my tooth because they were making the new one, and it fell out. It popped right out and went down. You know the little handbrake that cars have, and that little rubber thing where things can get down in there, and went right down in there, right down in that floor brake area. And I have to be at a network television show reading, and I'm like,
you had the little fang there.
I've got the fang. No, but I'm trying to get the little tooth out of that little area in my car using a coat hanger. I had a coat hanger in my car, and I'm like trying to scoop it out. And I finally got it out and got some denture cream and glued it to my tooth and made it to the reading.
God.
But it was such a great moment because I was like, look, you think you're hot shit, you ain't nothing. You're just trying to get your little fake tooth out of your.
Were you still driving that green Granada that you had at that time?
Yeah. God, what a great car. That was a great car. That car you had to start braking like a half a mile before a stop sign.
Yeah. I borrowed that a couple of times. There was a lot of play in that wheel.
Oh my God. Yeah. You could do a full 360 and the car wouldn't start to turn.
So anyway, as for now in Western Europe and the United States, people can usually expect to live 85 years when they're born, if everything goes right.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of things that play into that. There's a historian called Angus Deaton, and he talks about the Great Divide, meaning that their life expectancies have increased in wealthy nations, while life expectancy in poor nations have decreased. Wow. Now they're slowly starting to come up, but when Deaton wrote that, I think 20 years ago, that's the way it was. He also talks about there's a difference that exists between people born in affluent neighborhoods and people born in poor neighborhoods.
Interesting.
As far as life expectancy.
I mean, it makes sense, but I mean,
but generally, an American born today has a life expectancy of 85, which compared to what we were talking about, like 35 to 45 up to 1900, we literally have doubled our life expectancy in a century. We have our grandparents' time for people like you and me. I mean, it's we've seen it happen.
I mean, that means you and I got another 30 years. Remember everything we did up to 30? We got all that. That's a lot.
I don't know. Yeah. How do you feel about it? Do you feel
fine? I'm fine. I'm exhausted.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole thing. Before 1900, people would have never got to the point where they were having Alzheimer's or having cancers, certain cancers, or lung disease, or arthritis. They would have died by that time.
Right.
And people have always looked for a quick fix for living longer. Like you had Ponce de Leon went to Florida looking for the Fountain of Youth.
He didn't find it.
You also have people who the alchemists were all looking for the Philosopher's Stone, which was supposed to give immortality or longer life, longevity. And recently there's been some work done on roundworms.
What?
Where Yeah, where they've gone in and altered some of the genetic DNA in roundworms, and it's allowed the roundworm to live like an extra 3 weeks,
And
which is like a
how long do roundworms live normally?
well. They say that the 3 weeks is a 500% improvement on
What?
their yeah yeah.
Jesus. Wait, what is a
But
roundworm? Is that the thing that's in your butt, or is that the thing that's in your dog's head, or what
no
is that
no,
thing?
I think a roundworm is like just a tiny little worm that you. I think they feed them to fish or something. I don't know.
Oh,
Like a
okay.
yeah. I
God.
wasn't expecting you to ask that question, honestly.
Sorry.
I thought that the 500% increase in life
No,
expectancy. But what is a
I'm more
roundworm?
disturbed about these roundworms.
Yeah, I think you're talking about a ringworm. Like, oh
Ringworm,
God,
that's it. Oh, God.
don't run through a puddle with your shoes off during the summer. You'll
You'll
get
get ringworm.
yeah yeah. Uh, so I think people who study age-related diseases and aging, they think that people are looking for that quick cure. They're
Yeah.
hoping that someday we'll be able to go in and genetically alter something to make ourselves live longer.
Yes.
And in an article called Biological Theories of Aging, Edward Snyder said that the theories of biological aging usually fall into two different camps. And there's a camp that says, well, biological aging is determined by inherent genetic programming.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the genetic theory, meaning that we have like a built-in
Clock.
time limit.
Yeah.
And
Interesting.
then there's also those that feel that aging is the result of random assaults on our cellular and genetic material from both our internal and external environments.
Okay.
Meaning,
And that's what's his face over in Venice is trying to prove.
right.
He's like,
Exactly.
I'm gonna control what I can control. So it all comes back to nature nurture. It's
Yeah.
basically everything's nature nurture. Are we
Well,
born with it, or is it because of how we are, how we live?
Well, it's in the biology of aging. McDonald also says that biological aging occurs in accordance with the same physical laws that cause all matter in the universe to decay over time, the laws of thermodynamics. So he's just like, he's kind of on the second school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like we're born with what we have, and then it's the environment starts working
Assaults
on
us. Yes.
Yeah. It starts to entropy. It all comes down to entropy again. And like, we're all the matter, even us, we're trying to go to disorder or randomness in the system that's us. And so he says that there's no one cause of aging. So that's what makes it so hard when people are trying to solve aging, is because we're all responding. We're born with our DNA, our genetic material, but then after that, it's everything we do. Like some of us smoke, some of us eat, some of us exercise, some of us don't exercise. And so he says that's what it's hard to come up with a theory of aging that fits everybody, because we're all experiencing this life in a different way.
Because reality as we know it is all aging. And it's all, that's really interesting. That makes sense. I like that.
Yeah. And he says there's definitely in his mind, and maybe they'll come up with something. I think the DNA and the genetic research will probably deal more with how do you solve these age-related diseases like cancer or like Alzheimer's, but it's not really programming us to live longer.
Right. You're just plugging some hole, but that just makes it more likely that something else is going to attack.
Right.
That's
and he
great.
makes a good point of like, if it was programmed into our DNA and if aging was nothing but evolution, from an evolutionary standpoint, there's no reason for us to live longer than it takes us to reproduce.
Yeah.
And see our children reach an age where they can reproduce.
You and I are perfect examples of that. We serve no purpose.
I know.
Our hunting and gathering is over. We can't make any kids. Our hunting and gathering is over. We're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are we doing here?
You always see the ads on TV where it's like an older couple, like usually it's a Viagra ad or something, but they're like holding hands and they're going out and they're or what's the other one where they're in the two bathtubs out in the middle of the woods?
I know. I hate that
bathtub.
one. How'd you get out there? I hate that one.
And then, but really, there's no evolutionary reason for that. You know what I mean?
Look at us. We're making a podcast. That's all we're built for. We're down to that.
Look what look what's happened to us.
This is all we can add to society.
Entropy. It's all entropy. It's all coming apart.
It's true.
So what McDonald says, and like a lot of aging researchers say, is that aging becomes a very individual process, meaning that we're all going through it in our own way. And it's very hard to say, define aging by just a chronological age or a chronological number of years, because some of us will, be younger for a certain point and then other, we're all just depending on how we're interacting with the environment, that's going to affect how we age. But then when we do if we do increase aging, there's additional problems that come with it. And they talk about the mental, spiritual, and social problems that come with living longer.
Yeah.
And there's a guy named Thomas Cole who's written a book called The Journey of Life, A Cultural History of Aging in America. And he talks about how old age used to be one of those expected stages of life. Like we would always say, like, you have that age of being a child, then a young adult, and then married man or woman. And he says that the Puritans actually encouraged all of their believers to seek spiritual strength and personal growth by accepting that frailty that comes with growing old. So it was all part of, you just accept it. We all knew that we were going to get older. And since the mid-19th century, what Cole says is Americans have come to view aging not as a fated aspect of our individual and social existence, but as one of life's problems to be solved through willpower.
Yeah, like what's happening in Venice with that dude.
I know.
He's just I'm going to fight the unfightable, the unwinnable.
Right. And the other thing that Cole says is that now we see aging as a medical problem, and we think it can be cured through medicine.
Yes.
So we've gotten away from this idea of like, well, yeah, we all grow old. We're all going to accept that we grow old. Now it's like an individual failure almost if you grow old, where your body begins to break down.
Right. Yeah. I love that. I mean, because it's the ultimate. It's the ultimate spiritual opportunity. And you see this with people, and I've met people who have been at peace when they die. And it's an amazing thing to see.
Yeah.
But then most people are just like, no, scratching and clawing. And
I wonder, we will have to, I try to keep this separate from death, because I think we need to do a show on death.
Yeah.
But really, this is because aging is something, death is one time.
Yeah.
I think somebody I read actually said that. They go, aging is one event, or death is one event, but aging is like a long process to get to which basically
it starts the minute you come out. You start to die the minute you're born.
Yeah. In 1975, Robert Butler, who's a doctor, won the Pulitzer Prize with a book called "Why Survive: Being Old in America," and that was 50 years ago. And reading it, you still see nothing's changed. In 50 years, we're still dealing with the same thing. And he says, for many elderly Americans, old age is a tragedy, a period of quiet despair, deprivation, desolation, and muted rage. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And he talks about the depression that comes from losing your freedom, losing control of your body, your mind, and the anxiety that comes from having limited finances.
Yeah.
So, you think about, oh, yeah, somebody may have $2 million to stay alive, but what about everybody else? You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yep.
If we're going to start living to 160, how are we going to pay
Pay for
for
that.
ourselves?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to live another 80 years just to be like worrying about paying my bills.
This podcast ain't gonna do it.
Yeah. It's not. You told me it would.
It will. Don't worry. Once I get the merch set up.
There's a French writer called Marc Auge who wrote like a really great book. It's very small, but it's called Everyone Dies Young. And he's an academic, and I think he must be a philosopher, but it's very, very brief, probably because he knew his readers didn't have much time.
That's pretty cool. I like the title.
Yeah, but he says that solitude is said to be one of the cruelest afflictions of old age. And you cannot age for long without witnessing many close friends growing distant or disappearing.
Yeah. Well, that's already started, we have friends who are, it kind of starts coming on, and you start to see like, woo, I had a shrink who said, getting old isn't for the faint of heart. He's like, it's hardcore.
Yeah, I think and I see that with like my mom and like other people I know, my in-laws, like a lot of their friends are passing away, and you just begin to see like your whole social circle, you begin to lose it, and again, I don't know if, living longer, say for example, you add another 50 years to your life, if that would really change. Like that feeling is still going to be there when you reach that time. You know what I mean?
Where you are, you're still you.
Right. Mm-hmm. And you're just prolonging the period, before you feel that.
Yep.
I think, who is it? Milan Kundera. Who's the guy who wrote the Incredible Likeness of Being? I can't remember. What's that guy's name? Anyway, he passed away he
recently died.
Is it Kundera? Am I? That's it. Well, anyway. He said something. I was reading one of his obituaries this week, and he said something that like, life doesn't have any second drafts. And so I think maybe by, we don't have second drafts, but by trying to prolong our lives, maybe we're just going to keep writing. You know what I mean? We're just going to make this the infinite jest or something of
right. It's still it's still going to be a movie. It's just you're just stretching it out.
Right.
Longer ain't better.
I'm just going to keep writing. I'm not going to end it. There's no ending in this.
Keep going.
So anyway, to me, after researching this and thinking about it, I mean, there are a few things I think about with aging now. And that is, one of the reasons we grow old and die is to make room for those people coming behind us.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And there used to be a reason why they made people retire, was so that you would open up jobs for those guys behind you or women behind you who are trying to support their families. You couldn't stay in that job forever.
See, now you're talking, now you're hitting the sweet spot for me, because it's not about you. This gentleman in Venice, he says it's about, he's trying to help all of us, but really it's just about him.
Yeah.
He just wants, and there's a selfishness to that.
Yeah. Like if somebody like if we're living to 160 and then somebody stays in their job to 130, what about the guy? What about the 80-year-old that's an upstart 80-year-old who's trying to get ahead in the world? You know what I mean? The other thing somebody mentioned was that, older people are traditionally, we become more conservative as we get older. And
that's not true for you.
Yeah, that's why I'm going entropy, man. Entropy.
You're going the other direction.
Yeah, but they, and then I'm thinking about, well, what will happen if we have like more 150-year-olds hanging around? It'd be like, boy. somebody that was born in 1870 still hanging out trying to talk to us about like what we should do with our culture, what our culture should be.
Yeah.
Um,
My kids are
and
already rolling their eyes at me.
I know.
Imagine another 80 years of that.
80 years of you talking about like, well,
Yeah.
did you see the Seinfeld where it's like Jesus Christ. And then all the extra people, like we would have so many extra people around. Like you think it's hard trying to get a like dental appointment or a medical appointment now. Just wait until we have like another.
405 is going to be just packed. Well, it already is.
Bunch of 150-year-olds driving around out there.
Get out of the diamond lane.
Yeah. And then also, I mean, finally, just the mental, like it's got to be depressed. Like you would have to have enough money to stay alive to 160.
See, that's the thing. The poor people are still gonna die at the same rate, but it's the rich that are gonna live longer. And then you're just gonna have that sort of mindset that was successful at gaining money, but not necessarily successful at, I don't know, empathy. Or qualities like that. So you've got these people that are living longer, and they're the ones that represent just a slice of who we are and what we stand for. And you don't have any of and also you ain't stopping gravity. So you may live to 150, but you're going to be sagging. You can't stop that.
Yeah.
You're still, gravity's going to continue to pull that scrotum down to the ground.
Your face looks like a 17-year-old, but your scrotum will give you away.
You can slice and dice and nip and tuck all you want. God.
Go out to the pool in your shorts. People are going to go.
Yeah, your balls are still in your hotel room.
I was thinking the same thing, John, about who is it? I mean, it's going to be rich people that can afford it, like part of the 1%. And all it does is give certain individuals more time to consolidate their wealth and their businesses that they won't give up.
Right.
And then I'm like, what about everybody else? You know what I mean? Like, what future will there be when there's like some 170-year-old owns everything?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and the problem with people who are good at gaining wealth and consolidating wealth is only one aspect of what a human does. Like those people aren't inventing the most incredible guacamole you've ever tasted. You know what I'm saying? So like or writing this play or painting this painting or whatever. You know, they're good at accumulating wealth and finding markets and all of whatever that is. But there is so that the culture is going to be top loaded with these people who are good at sucking off of the culture, but not good at creating the culture. Oh boy, I'm glad we're dying soon. I'm going to take a close out right after this podcast. We kind of come around, damn it.
Okay, we kind of came full circle, huh? Like you're like, oh yeah, I'd like to live a little longer. Now it's like,
no, I'm ready.
I always love movies like The Hunger or Highlander, where they show like the immortal or the vampire who you see how sad it is. Like they had to go through all of this loss over and over again. They've seen
Interview
the same.
with a Vampire is another one. Yes.
Yeah.
The Hidden is a fantastic movie. If you haven't seen it out there.
I haven't seen that one, I don't think. I can't remember The Hidden.
The Hidden. This great opening scene where this old dude is listening to heavy metal driving a Ferrari and gets machine gunned down. Oh my God. So great. Highly recommend it.
Yeah. So to me, that's a much more realistic, or that's an idea of immortality I can relate to, of like the sadness that must come with it.
Yes, wherever you go, there you are. Yeah. And you still got to deal with loss. You got to deal with all of that stuff. And being around longer doesn't mean less of that. It means more of it.
Right. Because you'd have to have all of your friends and family. They would have to be there. And I'm not sure if I want to live to 160 unless like Mary's there or you're there or somebody
I'm
is
not
there.
going to be there. There's no chance I'm going to be.
I'm gonna have your robot hologram.
Yeah, maybe if I download, I'm going to download myself. Hey!
We're going.
What you doing?
We'll have to deep fake you so I can keep doing this podcast after you're
done. It may already. I'm going to be honest with you. It's already happened. I'm not even here. I have a deep fake.
I'm not sure. Atul Gawande wrote a really good book called Being Mortal. And it's not a long book, it's a great book, but he talks about issues of quality of life. And talks about instead of, like trying to live longer or like fight aging or whatever, we should be more focused on how can we maintain a quality of life, and when do we finally reach that point where we say, okay, enough, we don't have a quality of life. And once again, I just feel like, you can prolong it, but eventually you're going to go through it no matter what. You're just writing that endless novel or that endless draft. So anyway,
well, although we're going to be digitized and then live forever. That's a whole crazy thing.
Yeah.
But we'll be inside a machine somewhere.
Yeah.
But we won't know it. We'll still be talking.
Do you think we would
stuff.
know? We'd have.
Maybe we'd make programs to make us not realize, because people. I don't know.
I still say it's going to be credit card companies.
Yeah.
And student loan. Those
guys have figured everything out.
Yeah. My consciousness is in a circuit board, but it's still making money. It's still working at a call center somewhere. Okay, John.
Well, wonderful. You've done it again. That was wonderful.
I hope. Enjoy the time we have. I guess
we're both going to live longer than our dads. I bet. I'm putting that out there. I think both we're gonna make it longer.
Don't jinx us. Don't jinx us on that.
I bet everything on
it. There's a part of me that's like, and then there's a part of me that's like, life is like a tennis court, a time limit at a tennis court, or like a laundromat or something. It's just like,
somebody's waiting to get their clothes in the dryer.
Let somebody else have a chance. Let somebody else have the planet.
I like that. That's a great way of looking at it.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening.
You.
And if you've enjoyed this podcast and found it interesting, please tell a friend about it. And if anything, listening to this podcast will help give you something to talk about when when you go out. You can always pull something out and talk about it.
That's right. And it'll live forever, so you can listen to us on your deathbed.
Yeah.
We'll still be there.
We'll go.
This is human number 2, John Lehr.
And this is human number 1, John McCray. And as always, if you have a topic or question you feel humanity needs to know about, please let us know. And thank you so much, everybody. Enjoy the time we have.
Yes.
Enjoy the time we have.
Get out there.
Yeah. Have no regrets. No regrets. All right, John. Love you, man. Talk to you later.
Love you. Bye.